Thank you, everyone. I'm going to give a fairly broad overview of how Health Canada regulates nanomedicines. Standard disclaimer, anything I say is my opinion, and if I do mention a product, it doesn't imply an endorsement or a criticism of it. So just a brief overview of Health Canada. It's the federal institution that's responsible for a wide range of health products, including drug and health products, consumer product safety, environment and workplace health, as well as food and nutrition. All health products, including those that contain nanomaterials, are regulated by the Food, Drug, and Drugs Act and its associated regulations. So the Food and Drugs Act gives us the legal authority to do things, and the regulations tell us how we do them. So when we look at nanotechnology-based health products within Health Canada, currently there are no specific regulations for those products, and we rely on existing legislative authority and regulatory frameworks to regulate them. Health Canada did adopt a working definition in 2011 for nanomaterials, and we use this definition to identify submissions that contain nanomaterials, both in human and veterinary drug submissions, as well as for natural health-based products. So that would be herbal medications and traditional Chinese medicines and native medicines. And I'm going to say this probably a couple times. Health Canada really encourages sponsors and other stakeholders to communicate with us early in the development and submission process through pre-submission meetings. So the organization has a number of regulatory initiatives. Most of them started in 2015. They're not specific to nanomaterials or nanomedicines, but they will most likely have an impact on how we regulate them. The first is our Environmental Impact Initiative. Currently, medicines or drug products are regulated within our Environmental Protection Act, and they're treated as industrial materials. That the regulation, or the environmental regulation of those products, will be moving to the Food and Drug regulations for environmental assessment. So basically, what's happening is the level or the concentration of material required to activate a environmental impact assessment will be decreasing. There should be draft documentation on this coming within the next few months. In 2015, we started our regulatory transparency and openness framework and action plan. And here is, we're trying to be more open and transparent with both the Canadian public as well as sponsors and stakeholders. One initiative out of this was offering a trial of scientific advisory meetings for biosimilars during their development process. So we can have discussions with the sponsors early in the development process, and we can iron out potential submission issues early on. We're also undergoing a fairly large review of our drugs and devices and how we regulate them. There's a number of projects within that. Probably the most important and interesting ones are improving access to generics and biosimilars, as well as work sharing with other regulatory agencies, and I'll talk about that in a slide or two. We also have a number of department to national collaborative initiatives. We have working groups within the branch, working groups, interdepartmental working groups, research collaborations with the Canadian National Research Council, and as well as we have a number of research laboratories that are focused on both nanomedicines and exosome systems. We also participate in a number of international collaborations, the OECD, ISO TC 229, the International Harmonization Committee. We are an observer on the European Pharmacopoeia. We, as I mentioned, collaborative research programs. And recently we had a trial for a work-sharing program between Australia, Canada, Singapore, and Switzerland, where Australia and Canada jointly reviewed a new submission, and Singapore and Switzerland observed. So Australia and Canada independently evaluated the clinical data, Canada evaluated the quality data, and Australia evaluated the toxicology data. and then an independent decision for each region was made based on that evaluation, and in fact both Australia and Canada approved that product. So just to conclude, Health Canada uses existing frameworks for the regulation of nanomedicines. We're engaged in both departmental, national, and international collaborative efforts. There's a number of regulatory initiatives underway that will most likely impact how we regulate not only medicines but nanomedicines. And again, we really encourage early consultation between the sponsor and the appropriate regulatory directorate. Our website is notoriously difficult to navigate. I've included a number of links. Probably the two most important ones are the Office of Regulatory Affairs in the Therapeutic Products Directorate and the Office of Regulatory Affairs in the Biologic and Genetic Therapies Directorate. Basically, this is where if you have a sponsor has questions or a stakeholder has questions about our regulatory process, if you send them there, they'll make sure they get to the right people to have them answered. So thank you very much for your time.
Well, excellent. Exactly 6 minutes. So thanks a lot for giving an overview about the system in Canada, but also about the international collaboration. So it really showed that you not only talk to other regulators, but you have also some active collaboration. And also, thanks for giving the message, the importance of early consultation. Now,